This is going to be another episode of One Play Wednesday where I try to look at fun, interesting, or impactful play concepts from around the NFL, generally on the offensive side, but occasionally defensive plays. This is a reverse that Ben Johnson runs in the third quarter against the Bucs, and it's interesting because of the way they block it up. Reverses are an annoyance for defensive coordinators. So let me generalize, because how often do you see them? Well, Ben Johnson's run three through 2 weeks, and they went for, I think, 12, 13, and 15 yards. I'll actually show you all three of them through the course of this video. I usually try to keep these One Play Wednesday pieces of content at 5 to 7 minutes. My suspicion is this one's going to go a little bit longer. I'm recording it one time through. Jameson Williams, second play of the third quarter, gets called upon to run a reverse. It makes sense. He's got tremendous speed. He's actually following Khalif Raymond here, which is part of the element that I want to talk about. Additional to that, the way the Lions are blocking it here on the right side is really cool, if you ask me, and I'll get to that when we come back to this play again later. I just wanted to intro it and let you guys see it one more time. There's so many plays run during the course of an NFL game. It's difficult for me, to be real, to try to summarize and encompass the totality of a game. That's why I like possession videos. Wednesdays are fun for me. Maybe you don't like the content. I've actually got some negative feedback about these, but I like them because I get to change my brain somewhat and focus on one play. So the reverses have been effective. Here is one. This is overtime. First play of overtime, in fact. Khalif Raymond against the Rams last week, week 1. It's still fresh in your mind, I'm sure. You've got Raymond up at the top side, Amon-Ra St. Brown at the bottom. Raymond with the reverse for 12 yards. I'll show you the Jameson Williams one against the Rams here in a moment. There's a lot to talk about, but oftentimes what you're getting with the reverse is some type of flow in one direction, and then the reverse going in the opposite direction. That's classic, right? You're trying to get the offense flowing here. You're trying to get the defenders flowing there, and part and parcel of that is pulling the play side guard. So the play side guard is pulling opposite to hold this inside linebacker. Additional to that, you're oftentimes getting a counter step by the running back. So there's this delayed action to the running back. Why? It's to give the receiver, whether it's Jameson Williams or Khalif Raymond, time to open himself up and go, because pre-snap, you don't want to give it away. You've got to hide your intentions, which is the whole point of offenses at any level of football, right? You don't want the defense to know what's coming. So you got 12 yards, first play of overtime, really loosened up the Rams defense. And the proof of that, I think, is in the pudding. The next 5 or 6 run plays, they just gashed them, culminating with David Montgomery's short touchdown run to win the game. Same game earlier. I think this is second quarter, but I could be wrong. Essentially the same exact reverse, except now the tight end, in this case David Wright, isn't going all the way across the field away from the point of attack. So it's difficult for me to do this because we're talking about end zone angle here, all 22 angle, or coach's film, the play before. Play before, the tight end motioned all the way across, and the reverse to Khalif Raymond went in the opposite direction. Watch what this tight end does here, and then in a moment, we'll talk about the guard, Kevin Zeitler. Tight end puts his feet in the ground and then reverses course, gets back out in front. You've now got 3 lead blockers. Beautiful design. I would say, conceptually, it's the exact same thing. It's just a different way to get there. It's a different way to cook the meal, but you get the same output. Additional to that, you do have a pull by the guard, and that is to hold this inside linebacker, a down block by Penei Sewell, and then Ragnow is fitting between Sewell and Zeitler. That's intricate. I'm not saying that other teams don't do this, that other teams aren't capable of occupying it, but it's intricate for what you normally see an NFL offensive line accomplish. So what I'm talking about is Zeitler stepping back to pull in this direction. He didn't step back at that severe depth. I'm using this for illustration purposes. A down block by Penei Sewell, and then between those two, Zeitler pulling and the down block of Sewell, Ragnow is trying to fit between those two and loop around to go get someone at the second level. He actually ends up going further to the sideline than I could draw, but I only have so much screen to draw on for you guys. Hopefully I explained it in a way that makes sense. 13 yards, Jameson Williams last week. So let's get to the third quarter. Well, the Bucs have played fantastic defense, I thought, particularly in the first half. They were able to get to a 6-0 lead, hold the Lions offense down pretty much for most of the first half. First play of the third quarter here. Play action over concept. You've got Raymond going to sit down underneath. Jamison Williams on a vertical that he's bringing in close to the hash, and then an over concept Yankee, whatever you want to call it, by St. Brown from the other side against zone over the top of the linebacker level, 35, took the vertical for a moment, and then he falls off, passes that vertical to the safety, try to defend St. Brown. Ball's already out, doesn't matter. He's wide open, 20 yards. So you've certainly loosened up the Bucs defense. So the very next play, I wasn't expecting this when I watched the game. I didn't watch it live. I was unable to watch it live. I had to watch it Sunday night. I certainly wasn't expecting a reverse on the next play. I watched the condensed version, and then to see the way that Ben Johnson gets it accomplished also is unique. So keep in mind, Raymond is going in motion from the boundary to the field. This is Jamison Williams. You have normally, in the previous two iterations that I showed you, ended up with three blockers out in front. Well, Ben Johnson's getting that accomplished again, but just in a different way. You can see that the blockers out in front. Ragnow, another offensive lineman here. You've got St. Brown cracking, pinning down on an inside linebacker. Doesn't look as threatening maybe as a couple of the other reverses because there was so much space and so many guys out in front. The Bucs did a nice job defending it, but look, it's the perfect play call to utilize Jamison Williams. I am wondering about a reverse pass, guys. I said this last week. You've run so many reverses, 3 through 2 games. I don't know if Jamison Williams can throw the ball or not. I don't know if Khalif Raymond can, but I'm wondering about a reverse pass going to the right. It's all set up for Ragnow to loop out in front to block. Whoever the other receiver is going in motion out to block, to give this guy space to either throw it or keep it and run if it's a failed option in terms of the pass play. So let's get to the blocking scheme. You're welcome to let me know what you think of that. I told you guys that this would go on a little long for to be talking about one play, but I thought that I needed to set it up a little bit. I think this element of Raymond going out in front is important because in this case, it gets the safety at more depth, or maybe it's just random that safety does so, but on the motion, he's getting depth, and they've got everybody blocked up. Great effort by Whitehead. I think Williams also runs into Sorsdahl. Ends up being 15 yards. So pay attention to the scheme here that we're talking about between these three guys. I need a better media player at this point such that I can have the same portion of the play replay multiple times. I think when I do that, I get some stuttering or some tearing on the screen because my streaming laptop is just underpowered. So you're going to get a down block by Sewell. Zeitler is going to pull again to the opposite side, and that's pull away from the point of attack. So it's obviously designed to hold someone, one or both of the inside linebackers who might be reading him. And then Ragnow is fitting between those two to loop around. He gets slowed up a little bit here, I think, because Laporta's pin down on Tryon is actually so good that I think it impedes Ragnow from getting out there a little bit sooner. You see Ragnow's got to kind of swim over the top of Tryon to try to get out there. St. Brown blocking the inside linebacker. And when I say that it looks a little different from the other ones, it's because this guy, in this case Ragnow, isn't out in front a little bit more to make it look like just bulls on parade. Still goes for 15 yards. It's a fun play. I think Ben Johnson may have to do more things. This is an observation after I've already recorded my Jared Goff video. It'll be out Wednesday night for you guys. If you haven't checked out some of the content this week, I understand when teams lose, people lose interest and stuff. But I have discovered a couple of things that I think teams are trying to do to slow up Jared Goff, and I do think Ben Johnson has to utilize more of these concepts, not necessarily reverses, flea flickers, double pass, reverse pass, but things that are anomalous, that aren't direct flow or play action. Give teams a third timing differential. Give teams a third timing pattern that is different from your typical run concept or your typical play action pass. And I will explain in my video about Jared Goff and the offense tonight what I mean by that in terms of timing differential. So you guys let me know what you think of the video. I did talk about the reverses after the win over the Rams at length. So if this is repetitive content for you, forgive me. I think the way that the Lions are blocking it deserved some explanation. Maybe there's other people out there who have covered that better than I have. I think the way that Ben Johnson used Khalif Raymond on the reverse this week, out in front from motion, is pure genius. because it gives the defense, it gives anyone that running the defense or breaking down the Lions' offensive film, try to prepare to stop them, two different versions really of a reverse. It's like, how in the heck do we account for this? You can't. You really can't. When Ben Johnson picks the right time to run it with Jamison Williams or Khalif Raymond, they're going to get 10 plus yards. I expect, let's do this. How many times do you think over a 17 game season that the Lions are probably going to run a reverse? And I'm talking about a normal season, which at this point we expect the Lions to win 11, 12, 13 football games. That should be the expectation, and that still is for me, even though at this point you're 1-1, and the offense has been less than impressive, less than what our expectations were. How many reverses do you think that the Lions will run? Are they running more of them 3 through 2 games because the offense is slowed down to an extent at times by the Rams and Bucs defenses? I'm not sure. I think the number is going to be 10 plus. I'm comfortable if you say, Coach, I don't think we're going to get to 8. I'm not sure how many you think that the Lions are going to run, how many they would need to run. If you're up by 3 scores, you're not going to run a reverse. So there's an element or a dynamic there to consider as well. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you enjoyed the way that I tried to break down the reverse, the blocking scheme, when and why I think Ben Johnson's calling them to loosen up the defense, then let me know in the comment section, first of all. And second of all, consider grabbing a link to this video and sharing it out on social media so other Lions fans can enjoy this content as well. Appreciate you guys' time.